ever looked in the mirror and thought, since when this spot appear? Or looking at your selfies thinking, this patch was not this big yesterday?
Yes, mine started as one tiny dot, but after that, it's like unstoppable.
It happens to so many of us. Hi everyone, welcome back to Guardian Wellness Check-In, the place where we talk openly about real skin journeys, real questions and real solutions. I'm Shakirin, Guardian Pharmacist and a Certified Derma Expert. Joining me is Dr. Cheng, dermatologist and Guardian's medical collaborator. And with us today is our amazing guest, Ann, who's been through her own skin journey, including the dark spots that just refuse to go away. So before we get into the science, let's start with the moment it all began. Ann, when did you first notice your pigmentation and what do you think it was?
I first noticed my pigmentation was last year when I training for my triathlon, especially for my Ironman prep. And I didn't pay much attention because I think it's just a tiny dot. But after so many heat trainings, so many hours, I realized that my pigmentation is getting more and more obvious.
I actually hear this from a lot of my customers. People just like you train outdoors and then exposed under the hot sun. Most of them don't realize how quickly the pigmentation can develop and they'll assume that it will just go away until it doesn't. Do you all remember school sports day, kawat kaki or perhimpunan under the hot sun for hours? And our moms just said, just put aloe vera lah. No one knows about sunscreen.
Yes, like coming home with 3 darker shades, it's just normal.
Yeah, I was a girl guide back then, and we practiced marching under 12 noon Malaysian scorching hot sun. Back then, sun protection isn't something that someone would talk about.
Sunscreen awareness in Malaysia actually only became mainstream much later. Sunscreen trend boom really took off in Malaysia around 2015 to 2020, especially with the K-beauty influence. So, Dr. Cheng, what's really happening underneath our skin when this spot forms?
Well, this dark spot form when there is excessive melanin deposition on the skin. Think of melanin as our skin's inbuilt umbrella. The umbrella opens up to protect our skin cells from DNA damage from free radical formations. However, when we go outdoor too much, all the triathlon practice and training, the umbrella is unable to produce melanin in an even fashion anymore. When the melanin is overproduced, the pigmentation forms in patches. Sometimes, the damage accumulates over time. So we might actually forget, but our skin remembers. So years after we've noticed this pigmentation form, it's like our skin sending our bills from the past sun exposure.
And that's why it's not about one bad day in the sun. It's everything combined. UV, heat, no sun protection, genetics, all building up over time. And because all of us have different lifestyles and exposure, pigmentation shows up differently for each person. So let's talk about types, because knowing which types you have make a big difference. And here's the thing, many people think that freckles come from the sun. Technically, yes, sunlight can make them darker, but the true cause is actually your genes. If your parents have them, there's a high chance that you might have them too.
Oh, that's new for me. That means like if my parents have the freckles, means I have a higher chances to have it.
Exactly. With sunspots, even you weren't born with freckles, years of sun exposure still can give you those darker, more stubborn patches. If you're watching this from home, grab a mirror, compare your spots to what's on screen. See which one looks closest to yours. First, freckles. Small, light brown spot. Second, sunspot. Well-defined dark brown spot. Third is melasma, symmetrical patches seen in cheeks, forehead and also your chin. Last one is PIH, Post-Inflammatory Hyperpigmentation. It can be patches from previous skin injuries like eczema inflammation, acne and etc.
And sunspots are usually darker, more well-defined, and it doesn't fade easily even with sun avoidance. Unlike freckles.
Freckles can fade?
Yeah, because our skin renews itself. As long as there's no continuous stimulation for new melanin to be formed, the skin surface pigment cell shed off, then freckles will fade.
Yes, And for melasma, they are dramatic, symmetrical, and usually triggered by pregnancy and birth control. It usually shows up across the cheek, and your forehead is very symmetrical, like a butterfly shape.
Yeah, that's true. Melasma is strongly linked to hormones, like the pregnancy hormones, menopause hormones, and also the use of birth control pill as well. But apart from hormones, it is also strongly linked to gene, sun exposure, and a lot of people do not realize that it is also affected by heat exposure. So staying in shade is important, but staying cool is important for melasma control too.
Wait, that means if every time I fry the chicken, I also making it worse?
Possible if you have melasma. Yeah, because the heat actually wakes up the pigment cell to work harder.
And then we have post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. The pimple leaves, but the acne mark stays for months.
I actually don't have the acne issues, but I realized that whenever I have scar or some pimple scar, it tends to become darker and darker every time I train under the hot sun.
PIH happens after an episode of skin inflammation, whether it's from eczema or from insect bite or acne or any sort of skin injury. Whenever the skin gets injured or irritated, it gets angry. When it's angry, it's red, So after that, when that redness fades, it leaves brown marks. These brown marks can fade, but it often takes some time.
Remember during lockdown, we saw from the social media that our frontliners have these lines on their cheeks due to wearing masks and face shield for so long. I'm not sure whether doctor have this issue or not, but
Thankfully not.
But I have a lot. I got from swimming, cycling, and running. I always laugh at myself. I look like a tapir.
Those are probably from the sun rather than from the friction. But yes, friction hyperpigmentation can happen on our daily clothing and apparel. So from sports bra, rubbing at the area that's not exposed to the sun, or from carrying backpacks, wearing tight belts, etc. This friction actually stimulates and wakes up the melanocyte, which is a pigment-producing cell, to work harder to produce more melanin.
So how can we deal with all this?
the key is knowing which types you have because care is different for each type of hyperpigmentation. For sunspot, consistency is everything. Use sunscreen daily and don't forget to reapply every 2 to 3 hours. It's best to avoid peak sunlight, wear physical sun protection like a hat, or use skincare with gentle brightening ingredients like niacinamide and alpha-arbutin.
For melasma, a gentle approach is important. Apart from avoiding all the potential trigger, like for example, avoid unnecessary hormone products, you also should avoid heat exposure and sun protection, and use a gentle cleanser, hydrate the skin with a good moisturizer, and you can also use brightening product. Melasma care is a marathon, it's a long-term skincare, so consistency is the key.
And for post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, try to keep your routine simple only. Use gentle cleanser, moisturize your skin, and focus on ingredients like niacinamide, azelaic acid, gentle acids like PHA also can be helpful.
And for friction pigmentation that we've mentioned earlier, it's most important to avoid that friction, which means no rubbing, no scratching. Wear loose clothing that is not rubbing against the skin. Pick nice fabrics that is soft and not so harsh to the skin.
But honestly, sunscreen is the real MVP. It doesn't matter which type, sunscreen helps to prevent it from getting darker.
I always tell my patient to get a broad spectrum sunscreen that will cover at least UVA as well as UVB. If you stay indoor often, then probably SPF value of 30 and above is good enough. But if you do go outdoor and train under direct sunlight, then you need SPF value of 50 plus and above. And not just that, you also need to reapply very frequent. Sunscreen with added antioxidants or blue light blocker will be a plus point. And apart from sunscreen, you also need to stay in shade as much as you can. And of course, you can also use sun protective clothing as well. Jackets, hats, even face cover. They are very popular in Japan, Korea and China.
And I just wondering, how about those who love to go to the beach for sun tanning?
Sun tanning is a big no-no for me. Sun tanning is actually carcinogenic. That means it can actually lead to skin cancer. I usually joke that, cigarette smoking to chest physician is like sun tanning to dermatologist. Yeah, because with sun exposure, you get all this DNA damage. Yeah, and they are not healthy for your skin.
We've talked about why pigmentation happens and how to care for it, but honestly, the biggest confusion comes from all the things we hear online. So Anne, since you're here, anything you want to ask?
Oh yes, I have a list of them. First question, I read a lot articles. It says if I sleep late, it will make my skin become dullness. But is it also affect my pigmentation?
Yes, if you sleep late, you are stressed out. When you are stressed out, the stress hormone release. This causes inflammation as well as reduce the speed of skin repair. So if that happens, your pigmentation is easier to form and it's harder to remove, especially when you talk about things like melasma.
And another question, I'm confused, is about scrubbing. Some of them, they say scrubbing is good for the skin because it can absorb more skincare. Some of them, they say it's bad because your skin will destroy it. So which one is true?
Both is true. So when you exfoliate gently, once in a while, maybe just 1-2 times a week, it actually speeds up the skin cell renewal, and with that, your skin brightens. But if you overdo it, you actually damage the skin barrier, and then you get pigmentation.
And TikTok says blue light from laptop and phone can cause the pigmentation.
Blue light contributes to pigmentation, especially among Asian skin tones. However, it's not so much about blue lights from the laptop or from the handphone. It's more of blue lights from the sun rays itself. So it's more important to protect yourself from blue light, especially if you're sitting near the windows.
So don't panic. Scrolling your phones or catching up Korean dramas at night won't cause acne pigmentation. You don't need a sunscreen for that. Everyone's skins work differently. Your genetics, your hormone, your routine, even daily habits and stress level. All these affect how pigmentation shows up and how fast it fades.
Exactly. That is why sometimes one approach that works for a person might not work for the other. It is not uncommon that people go for the wrong approach for the wrong type of pigmentation, and that is where all the frustration started.
That's why at Guardian, we always encourage people to get a skin health check first. It helps you to know your skin type and what type of pigmentation you have. Then, picking the right skincare becomes much more easier.
So for my skincare routine, I mainly use hyaluronic acid, but for now, I use retinol after a runner friend who highly recommend me to use. But what do you think, which product is most suitable for my pigmentation?
And we're actually going to dive deep into that next, because not all brightening ingredients work the same, and some may even make the pigmentation worse if you use them wrongly.
I know many of you might be interested to know the aesthetic trends as well. Things like chemical peels or lasers or combinations, and which type is safe for which type of pigmentation.
So you mean my pigmentation will become worse?
It may irritate the skin if you use it too high the strength.
I heard some people say consume vitamin C also can brightening your skin. So is it true?
Supplements can support, but not to fix your pigmentation. Now we go into the part where a lot of people mess up, layering and what not to mix.
Is it okay if I add retinol and vitamin C together?